Welcome to Jags Drive Time with Ashlyn Sullivan, John Oehser, and Brian Sexton. Jags Drive Time starts right now.
Welcome in Jaguars Drive Time on a Wednesday, brought to you by Jet HomeLoans. Ashlyn Sullivan, Brian Sexton, and John Oehser here with you, as long as Drew Dougherty from Texans TV joining us as we get ready for a home game against the Texans this Sunday. Drew, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Great to be with you. Hope you're doing all right.
We are doing great, and I want to know about this Texans team. We spoke to some players and coaches on Monday, and they said, do not be fooled. This Texans team is better than their record shows. So where are the Texans right now as they come into Jacksonville on Sunday?
That is true. They are better than last year, but they're still 0-3-1, and there's nothing to really smile about when you think about that record on the whole. However, there are some bright spots, and the brightest of them all is a guy who's very, very familiar to all of you back there in Jacksonville. Dameon Pierce, the running back, has been a breath of fresh air. Ever since the pads came on in training camp, you took notice. And then in the preseason games, he was clearly the best guy, the best weapon out there for the team. So much so that he averaged about 7, 8, 9 yards a carry in the preseason opener. They held him out of that second preseason game because they said, hey, we've seen enough. And then he comes in, and basically over 4 games, he's averaging about 16, 17 touches per. And he just cracked the 100-yard mark last Sunday, largely in part to a 75-yard touchdown run. But you take that run out of the mix, and he still was good for about 4.3 yards per carry. And this was a Texans team that was dead last in the NFL in yards per carry last year, only 3.4. So even when he wasn't peeling off monster runs, he was still doing his job and getting 4.3. So this guy has been excellent. One weird little anomaly from last week in the stat line, he caught 6 passes, but he only got 8 yards off it. And a lot of that was kind of due to ball placement. I mean, he was having to sort of contort his body on the run and reach behind himself. I think if he gets the ball just where it needs to be, he's going to get some good yardage catching the ball as well. So he's been excellent, but the run defense hasn't been good. The defense as a whole has given up big plays when they can't. And Davis Mills, he's just got to play better. And he said so himself. He's got to make the throws when needed, and it's been a struggle in that department.
Morning, Drew. I thought you were going to say that Lovie Smith was the bright spot, because when I watch this team, I do see a very well-coached team, and I know that defense is his forte. And obviously, we all understand it's about having the talent to execute the defense that he wants. But to me, to be able to come back like they did from the big deficit last week shows us the kind of coaching that they're getting. And I've been impressed with what I've read and heard from Lovie Smith so far.
Yeah, you're spot on in that regard. And Lovie's been around the block. He knows what's going on. And it makes all the sense in the world. Even when he was in the building last year, he had a gravitas to him and has a gravitas to him that you can understand why guys like Brian Urlacher and guys like Devin Hester, one's in the Hall of Fame, one will be someday. But when the Texans hired him, Lovie Smith, for real as the head coach in the offseason, we talked with those guys, and they said, you're getting a hell of a leader. You're getting a guy who's going to be buttoned up and knowing what's going on, and you will not make mental errors like we've seen here in the past. So yeah, Lovie Smith has been a bright spot in that beard. I mean, it's gorgeous, isn't it? We could all learn a thing or two from growing a beard like that, right?
He's very self-aware, very confident man to have that wide of a beard. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not a confident
he's not
man,
coming down the chimney at night on December 25th. I mean, that's the only other guy I think that can get away with something like that. You know?
Probably so.
Obviously, Davis Mills right now playing like a different quarterback than he did the last 5 games last season. Do you see a difference? Is it what's going on around him? Assess that, if you will.
Yeah, it's tough, John. He's making throws sometimes. You know, in the third quarter, he threaded one to Nico Collins, went for 59 yards. Then right next play, he hits Brandon Cooks for an 18-yard touchdown. But it took until last week, until the third quarter of last game, for Mills to throw a touchdown pass to a wide receiver, to throw a touchdown pass to a non-tight end, because Rex Burkhead also caught one. In the first 3 games, there were 3 touchdowns total, and they'd all gone to tight ends. So he'll do the good things here and there, but then again, he'll struggle at other times. And it is a combination of many things. You know, he'll get rocked for a sack, and it seems like that's been the case in the fourth quarter, where either the ball will come loose and the Texans will pounce back on it, or lose a fumble or something like that. But it's just been up and down, and they really need to see consistency from him. But that's the beauty of this league, is if you make one or two mistakes a game, game's over, and you don't win. And they haven't made the plays when they've needed to, and they've lost 4 very winnable games, but they've lost, and the other team has played better when they needed to.
And Drew, when we look at this game on Sunday, I don't even want to call it a rivalry, because Brian told me the stat a couple mornings ago that the Texans have won 8 straight and the Jaguars have not beaten the Texans since 2017. I was shocked, and then I looked it up, and it is true. So what is this Texans team saying about the Jaguars right now? We believe they're much improved. Do the Texans see that as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how can you not? I mean, this team is so much better, and it's in, I think, such a better situation. You guys asked me about Lovie Smith. I mean, we can come right back at you about Doug Peterson. I mean, he seems like he's gotten everything on the right track, and boy, it sure helps having some more defensive talent like you. And you guys know it better than me, but goodness gracious, Devin Lloyd is somebody that I think a lot of people in the mock draft season, there are a few that could see him coming to the Texans, and it didn't happen, but that would have been fine. And I think he would have worked out fine on just about any team. That guy is really, really impressive out of Utah. So, yeah, the Texans know this is not going to be a gimme game. Not that it ever is, but they know that this is a salty Jaguars team, and they've got to be ready because, they need this. The Texans absolutely need this like oxygen. They're the last winless team in the NFL.
Going to be an interesting game here in Jacksonville on Sunday. Drew, we will see you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Great to see all 3 of you.
Absolutely. When we come back on Jaguars Drive Time, some big things here on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Jags fans, sign up for ESPN Plus to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on Russell Wilson and the Broncos across the pond at London's Wembley Stadium Sunday, October 30th. ESPN Plus gives you access to nonstop NFL action all season long with live games, originals, highlights, and more. After you sign up, be sure to log into your device with your ESPN account to stream on your TV and other devices. Visit ESPNplus.com/NFL for more details.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
For 9 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all available inventory. We're back, Jaguars Drive Time, Wednesday morning, brought to you by Jet HomeLoans, getting ready for a home game this Sunday against the Texans, a big AFC South matchup. Brian, Ashlyn, and John here with you. You guys ready for big things? Shall we do it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Big thing one is calm. There is no sense of panic in this building, even after losing to the Eagles last week in a somewhat close game, but with 5 turnovers. Rapidly improving this team, like we just talked about with Drew Dougherty, and competing in the AFC South for the lead. It's all thanks to Coach Peterson and his personality in this building.
But at the same time, if I'm the one that's all over the place emotionally, there's no calmness amongst the team, and I feel like if I'm calm, they're calm. If I'm erratic, they could be erratic, and so it's a little bit of both. Probably my personality, but at the same time, I just want to make sure that, and I don't ever want to let the opponent know that they've gotten under your skin too, and all of that. So we just stay the course.
Big thing, too, is confident the Jaguars are riding with quarterback Trevor Lawrence, of course, because he is the franchise quarterback, and aren't really worried about the 5 turnovers. They more so see it as a blimp on the radar.
He's the same, whether he's having his best game or whether he feels like he's, not playing like he's supposed to be. And that's why we have guys like Marv and Christian and Zay, especially Zay, to, keep the energy high, especially with Trevor. He's such a young quarterback. He's got a lot on his plate, and, we're riding with him whether he's, throwing for 500 yards or whether he's, playing in a sloppy weather game like that yesterday. So, we're going to ride with Trevor because he's the leader of this team, whether he really realizes it or not. He's so young. But, we're riding with 16 till the wheels fall off.
And big thing three is critical. Sunday is a huge game for both teams and a critical win for the Jaguars and the Texans, who are winless right now in the AFC South. A big matchup in this division, and the Texans have beaten the Jaguars the past 8 games. Devin Lloyd knows this defense can be better this week.
I'd say defensively, really just as a whole, coach, staff, players will all understand how to, improve. Basically, from this game, there were certain things that we did this game that, I feel like in some ways, we made it harder than what it needed to be. And so really just, finding a way to clean it out.
And that is big things as we go back up to big thing 1, the calmness in the building, thanks to head coach Doug Peterson. But I also think there's a sense of no panic because of the way the Jaguars did play on Sunday. Yes, the turnovers, but you still made it a close game against a very talented team. I think if they got their doors blown off by 40 points, maybe it's a different story.
Well, I still don't think you would have seen a strong, visceral reaction from Doug. I mean, I was watching carefully, and I did not, which is impressive because I wouldn't have been. I'm not that type of person. I can't be that calm. I said it when we first got a feel for him in the offseason, John. He's like a big brother. I mean, he's got his arm around this place. A franchise that's kind of desperate to win and anxious about what kind of team they're going to have, what they sell tickets. I mean, this whole franchise just needed to calm down. And I think Doug has been that guy who's kind of put his arm around the franchise, metaphorically speaking, and said, let me show you how we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of thoughts.
Oh, boy.
He's calm, but I also liked on Monday when he said, he basically said, okay, we can be calm, and we can take these things as learning experiences, but we also can't wait too long to learn from them and have results because all of a sudden the season gets away from you. Mm-hmm. So I liked that because it did show a sense of urgency within it. And I think Doug will remain calm. I asked him the question. I've been fascinated by how he's been able to keep this thing on an even keel. I think he'll remain calm, but this week has a different feel in terms of around the organization. I think this is a big game in terms of keeping everybody calm.
Yes.
I think if you lose the Texans, and all of a sudden I think a lot of fans and observers start looking at the season differently, rightly or wrongly, that'll happen. So it's a big win for a lot of reasons. If you win Sunday, I'm going on to big thing 3 a little bit without your help, Ashlyn. Sorry.
Thank you. You are the host. Take it away.
But it's a big game Sunday for that reason because if you win, then everything about the first 4 weeks you've been saying still sort of makes sense. If you don't, then all of a sudden I think people start to panic because that's the nature of fans. They'll be okay, but the fans will look at it and be like, "Ish."
They're not going to lose on Sunday.
Right.
Let me help you with this one. They're not going to lose on Sunday because
let's fast forward to Monday.
Their big toe will be back, and by that you have not probably seen the movie Stripes, but you have. Remember when Bill Murray says Sergeant Hulka was our big toe? I just laughing as I was listening to Agnew there. This guy is their guy. He is the balance. And I expect, just like he did from week 1 to week 2, I expect Trevor Lawrence to learn quickly, rapidly, from the mistakes of last week and come out against the Texans team. Hey, when was the last time we said Jaguars should win this? They're favored. They're the better team. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
That's the case on Sunday. It's Legends Weekend. There's more legends, by the way, more alumni who will be here for this game than at any point in any alumni weekend history. And it's Baselli's ring ceremony. No. They're walking into a trap this week. There's no panic. This franchise, it's a big game, but this is one that I expect to see Doug Peterson's calm resolve and Trevor Lawrence's return to be things that will lead to them getting a big win in a big game.
I love your confidence.
How can you not be confident?
I'm confident, but the reality is this team has not been in this situation
This is
before.
not that team, though.
Right, but this team has not been in that situation. You got to go do it and prove that you are as good as you think.
Were they
you
not
are.
in that situation in week 2? Coming back against
No,
the
they
Colts.
weren't favored in week 2.
What?
They weren't favored.
No,
in
no,
week
no.
2.
I know,
mean,
but facing a pretty important game.
There were a lot of questions going into week 2 about what this team was. Now we know what we think they are.
Mm-hmm.
They got to prove that they're what we think they are.
I get your point. I'm swinging for the fences and saying that they're going to run roughshod over
No,
the
when
Jets.
you look at the matchup, the Jaguars should win, and I so see what you're
I'm not
saying,
even looking
yes.
at the matchups yet. I am just listening to players and coaches and basing on the way that they rebounded from week 1 to week 2, and then they went and took care of business in week 3. Yeah, 5 turnovers week 4, but as we've talked about, there was still a moment where they could have captured this game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. That's not the same team that we've seen.
If they are what we think they are, they go win.
They go win.
And the weather's going to be much better. Should I bring up the weather again last Sunday?
Please don't. It's going to be gorgeous weather.
Our coworkers are like, Ashlyn, did you go to war? My gosh, you're a bit dramatic about the weather.
Yeah, it's going to be a spectacular Sunday, and I know John is eager to put the Baselli ring ceremony. I mean, center.
Baselli's in the hall. I hadn't heard.
You missed that one.
We must have missed that headline. Yeah. It's going to be a special Sunday,
Yep.
and a win would make it even better.
You bet.
Absolutely. All right, that is big things when we come back on Jaguars Drive Time. Some this or that on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey, Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
At 5-Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. 5-Star Credit Union, 5starcu.org. Go Jags!
Price.com is the easiest way to save money with comparison shopping, cashback, coupons, all in one. It's free. Try Price.com today.
This or that. This or that.
We're back, Jaguars Drive Time. Time for some this or that on a Wednesday morning. Brian, what do you got for us?
All right, so who is more important to get started quickly, right? I don't mean more important like more important overall, but getting the offense in gear. Does James Robinson satisfy that equation, or is Christian Kirk the right guy? Who do you have to get involved earlier to make everything go the way you want it to go, John?
Decision. I'm going to say Christian because it felt like when they didn't have him involved last week that the passing game just couldn't get started. I felt like overall they got J-Rob going, and because of the turnovers couldn't keep him going.
Yeah.
So I sort of feel like they need to have both, but I'm going to go with Christian for that reason. That I don't feel like the running game isn't going to be there when everything else is going along with it. So I'll say Christian Kirk.
I think you need Christian and Zay back because I think we saw the absence of Zay Jones too. And maybe that freed up some things for Jamal Agnew, but we saw when Christian couldn't get going, the offense couldn't get going.
But the question was...
I'm adding to it.
She's the host.
Okay, all right.
You can put a little addition, Mark, and Zay Jones under Christian Kirk.
And
I'm going to combine them.
I'm going to make it the passing game because I think Doug Peterson has made it clear that this is not a team that uses the run to set up the pass, like the old Raiders teams that would draw the safeties up, having to stop the run and then go over the top. This is a team that will throw the ball and use the run off the pass. So I think Kirk is the guy who needs to get going early.
And Zay Jones, evidently.
Yeah, he's important to this equation, too. Yeah. Go, John. Enough.
Mine was, and I'll read it, the perfect are we going to see this weekend the, quote, perfect team of weeks 2 and 3 or the mistake-prone team of weeks 2 and 4, of weeks 1 and 4? And I got this question a lot. They were so good and then so bad. I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle, but I really do believe they're going to be closer to weeks 2 and 3 because of this. I don't think they were necessarily incredibly mistake-prone in week 1, with the exception of some penalties and some missed throws. I mean, the penalties. I don't think the turnovers that we saw in week 4 are going to be anything close to the norm going forward. So I think they're going to be closer to a 0-1 turnover team than they are a disaster wheels come off team. So I'll say weeks 2 and 3.
I'll say weeks 2 and 3 also, primarily because I think that this coaching staff has proven their mettle, right? I mean, from week 1 to week 2, they went from 13 turnover penalties to 3, and then they went to 2. And they didn't have many last week either. The turnovers, I think, were an aberration.
Yeah.
I think it's a well-coached team. I think it's a team with more talent than we've seen around here since 2017. It is a very talented team. They're young, but they're well-coached, so that kind of offsets it a little bit. But I do think we're going to see, bad Jaguars again this year because of the youth and the inexperience. There's going to be a moment at some point in the next 6 or 7 weeks where you're like, oh, here we go again. But I don't think it's 1 for 1. In other words, I don't think this is, bad, good, good, bad, bad, good, good. I mean, there's no pattern to it. There's just going to be a moment, whether it's the weather, whether it's travel, whatever it is, where we're going to see the bad Jaguars again this year. It just happens.
Or just facing a very good team. Who's to say when they go up to play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas 100%. City, we might see a little of that week.
It's a talented young team that is very well coached. And so for that reason, to answer John's question, I expect weeks 2 and 3 to be here on Sunday. Of course, I already said that.
We're going to see a few more weeks 2 and 3 where they're really, really good. I think they've got that in them. I don't think you'll see a game with nearly as much sloppiness again as the Eagles, because I think so much of that was the weather.
Well, and I think Ashlyn.
I guess the weather was bad.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know.
Don't get me started. Don't tee me up.
Be with you on that one because of the weather.
I can't stop talking about it.
You just took your coat off, I think, for the first time all week.
Oh, my God. I'm still not over it. All right, my this or that. I was going through the Jaguars schedule last week, and my dad always calls me, and we always talk about this. How many games the Jaguars are going to win? We go through the schedule, and in August, during training camp, my dad was sold, okay, they're going to win 5 games. Like, all right, Dad, maybe. I don't know. Now going through this schedule, is this team a 7-win team, or is this a 9-win team? I have upped my ratio because of how the Jaguars played in weeks 2 and 3. The difference between a 7-win and 9-win team is a wild card berth, most likely. Well, so where is this team?
I thought they were a 7-win team starting camp, but then they stole one in Los Angeles that I didn't think they would get. So now I think by default, I have to say that they're a 9-win team. Although I think, look, the Colts aren't. I've made this clear. I don't think the Colts are any good at all.
So you're stealing another one in India.
Stealing. They have injuries still. So, yeah, I mean, you can go get another one. But I think the division is is in their grasp, right? You got to go win this week. But if you do, I think they can make a run at the division, which I've said since week 2. And if you do that, then you're a 9-win. You're not going to win the division at 7, right? You're going to have to go to 9. So because of previous things I've said and seen, I'll say they're 9 wins.
Yeah, I think they have a chance to get 9. I think they're a 9-win team. I'll say this. If they win Sunday and they win with a nice win, meaning in the second half, you feel like they're in control. I think they're the better team if they play like it. If they can sort of pass that test where you say, okay, I feel like they're going to win the games that we feel like they should win going forward, then I think they're definitely 9. If they come out and you feel like they didn't handle that very well, then I'm dicier. So I'll say 9 today. I think they can really put a stamp on that on Sunday.
I want to go back to something I said the other day, and that is even really good teams like the Super Bowl Colts in 2006. Have a moment where you're like, oof, I'm not sure if they're good enough, right? When they gave up 375 rushing yards here in December. And Tony Dungy, calm, right? We'll get this fixed. They got it fixed. So that's why I'm bullish on this team right now, is because I think this is the right guy to deal with tough circumstances that are hard to explain, and to focus this team on forward, on the issues of the Texans and not worry too much about the Eagles. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think that this is a better team than we all thought they could be this year.
For sure. I mean, we wouldn't have had this or that with 7 or 9 wins in August. We would have had it 5 or 7 maybe.
I think,
and that would have been more realistic.
Right. Yeah.
And that is This or That, presented by Price.com. When we come back on Jaguars Drive Time, some closing thoughts.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field. Pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
Jags fans, sign up for ESPN Plus to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars take on Russell Wilson and the Broncos across the pond at London's Wembley Stadium, Sunday, October 30th. ESPN Plus gives you access to nonstop NFL action all season long, with live games, originals, highlights, and more. After you sign up, be sure to log into your device with your ESPN account to stream on your TV and other devices. Visit ESPNplus.com/NFL for more details.
Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Back for one more segment, Jaguars Drive Time on a Wednesday, getting ready for head coach Doug Peterson to join us in about an hour in a press conference, back in the locker room, back on the practice field, getting ready for a home game this Sunday. And it's a busy one at that. I know you are knee-deep in Tony Baselli Hall of Fame coverage for Sunday.
I have been more involved in that than almost anything. Tony's been, I know, John, you're going to just roll your eyes at this. He's been a pleasure to deal with on this one, because he genuinely appreciates how the franchise has handled this entire thing. And as we've said, his love for the franchise and the city will come shining through this weekend. Saturday night's the Toast for Tony. It's the debut of 71, which is this organization's documentary on him. Mm-hmm. And I know he's excited about that. And I've heard from a lot of alum who are going to be here this week. And I just said it was the biggest group of alum I think that we've ever had. And I think that's in large part because, and I'll give you one example, Tony Brackens is coming, right?
That's cool.
And Brackens hasn't come to anything, right? He's just not that guy. He went back to his ranch on Texas, went back to his life, and left this behind. Mm-hmm. But he and Tony practiced against each other every single day. And Brackens, I think, is still the best defensive player this franchise has ever had. And Tony Baselli is the best offensive player, with all due respect to Fred Taylor. So I think that shows you the respect. And I'm excited to see some of these guys come back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to that night.
Are you actually?
Yeah. I kid Tony, because when I saw him the other day, I said, look, after Sunday, can we finally find a way to stop honoring you? I mean, at some point, how much more do you need to hear? But it's an incredibly deserved honor. We've all talked about it. We've all been to Super Bowls, and I talked to people about it. Mm-hmm. I am ecstatic for him that it is happening, and I cannot wait for it to be over.
It's going to be a cool weekend.
I'm kind of anxious for it to be over too.
Yes.
My to-do list has been a whole lot longer the last 3 or 4
But it'll
weeks.
be all worth it come Sunday.
Oh, 100%. And I have to say this: this franchise has never had this moment. It is a the kind of moment that, if you win a championship, everybody kind of comes together, fans and organization and city. And this is the first one we've had. There's no trophy in a case.
Right.
You don't have it for running a flag for the division up the pole. The bust will be here. Tony will get his ring. This is as close to a championship kind of moment as we've ever had. So, and hopefully not as close as we'll ever get.
Right.
But
yes.
for the moment, this is it.
And I hope people know I'm kidding. It is a wonderful moment for the franchise and an incredibly deserved moment for a guy who should have been in the Hall a long time ago.
Yes, in due time. So those tickets are still available on Jaguars.com to join in that moment on Sunday for Tony Boselli in a home game against the Texans here on Sunday. We'll be back, Jaguars Drive Time, tomorrow morning right here on the Jaguars Digital Network.